Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey into a really special natural spot here in Minnesota, 7 Mile Creek County Park.
Yeah, and you sent us quite a collection of info on this one.
We did. Everything from, the official Nicollet County website, some local takes from Mankato Life.
Uh-huh. And even that YouTube hiker's view, bird watching data from eBird. Quite a mix.
Exactly. Even a quick note about a similar creek name out in Montana, just to keep things clear. So our goal here is, well, to pull out the most interesting bits, the useful stuff from all that.
Right, to give everyone listening a real sense of what makes this 628-acre park tick, why it's kind of a gem.
Think of it as your personal guided tour through the highlights.
Exactly. We'll synthesize those different views, point out what's unique, why it matters, whether you're maybe thinking of visiting or just curious about local nature spots.
Or just like learning something new.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so first things first, let's get oriented. Where's 7 Mile Creek County Park?
It's in Nicollet County, Minnesota. Pretty conveniently located, actually, right off Highway 169.
Oh, yeah. Whereabouts?
Kind of in that sweet spot between North Mankato and St. Peter. So yeah, really accessible if you're in that area.
Okay. And looking at the descriptions, a few things jump out right away, don't they?
Definitely. Trails, for one.
And this trout stream will definitely need to dig into why that's special later.
For sure. And just its location, bridging those two towns.
Yeah, that location seems key. It's like this little sanctuary right near, well, more built-up areas.
Mm-hmm. Offering different kinds of experiences from, quiet walks to more active stuff. Easy to get to.
Okay, let's try and paint a picture of the landscape itself. What's it actually like?
Well, the county info says the park follows the creek, 7 Mile Creek, basically from the Minnesota River inland.
Okay, so it starts near the big river.
Yeah, and as you go further in, the terrain changes. You go up through these ravines.
Oh, interesting.
And into different kinds of woods. They call them music hardwoods, and even some grasslands.
And sandstone bluffs. I saw mention of those right near the entrance.
That's right. Sounds like quite a dramatic way to start your visit. Really sets the scene,
It does. That variety in the landscape, that seems like a big part of its character.
Totally. You move from the river bluffs into woods, then maybe more open areas. Keep things interesting as you explore.
And speaking of exploring, the trails. There's a good network, right? About 10 miles.
Yeah, around 10 miles. Mix of gravel and dirt paths, it sounds like.
Good for hiking, obviously. But they also mentioned horseback riding.
Right. And those 7 footbridges crossing the creek, they must be pretty scenic.
Practical, too, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, probably great spots to just stop and look around.
Definitely. Pause, see the water, the woods, maybe spot some wildlife. And the fact that it's multi-use, hikers and horses, that says something about its appeal.
It's not just trails, though. It sounds like there are other facilities, too.
Yeah, more traditional park stuff, 3 shelters, picnic areas.
Playground, volleyball.
Uh-huh. Playground, volleyball courts, even a ball diamond. And that boat landing for getting onto the Minnesota River.
So they've really thought about different ways people might want to use the park.
It really highlights that multi-use idea. It's not just like deep wilderness. It's a community spot with amenities.
Now, we did get that firsthand account from the YouTube hiker, Happy Trail Backpacking.
Right. What did he have to say?
Well, he started off really impressed, called it beautiful and awesome trail right away.
Okay, good start.
But he did hit a spot where his map seemed, well, maybe inaccurate. It led him down a really steep bit.
Ah, that's a good reminder, isn't it? Trail conditions change, maps get old.
Exactly. You can't always rely just on the printed page. You need to watch where you're going.
Very true. Especially with natural trails, erosion and stuff happens. Always good to check for recent info if you can.
He also mentioned the creek itself, said it was quite full because of recent rain.
Oh, yeah.
Even called it a raging torrent in parts. Shows how much weather can change things.
Wow, yeah. From gentle creek to raging torrent.
And he contrasted that with a smaller tributary he found later that was totally dry.
That difference is interesting ecologically speaking. The main creek flows consistently, which is why the trout are there.
Right, we'll get to that.
But those smaller streams that only flow after rain, they have their own little ecosystems adapted to that wet-dry cycle.
Okay, let's pivot to that trout stream. This seems to be a really big deal for this park.
It really is. Several sources emphasize it. It's a designated trout stream, and apparently that's pretty uncommon in south-central Minnesota.
So what makes it suitable? Why here?
It comes down to groundwater. The county side explains it pretty well. There's a lot of groundwater seeping into the creek from springs.
Natural springs, okay.
Yeah, upstream of the upper parking lot. And this constant flow of cold groundwater does two key things.
Which are?
It keeps the creek cool in the summer below 75 Fahrenheit, which trout need, and it stops it from freezing solid in the winter.
Like a natural temperature regulator.
Exactly, and that stable, cool environment is absolutely vital for trout. Most streams in that part of the state just don't have that reliable cold water source.
So it's a refuge, really.
Precisely. Especially with, climate change concerns, it makes 7 Mile Creek really important for cold water fish there.
And they help it along, too. I saw mention of stocking.
They do. Adult brown trout are stocked each spring. It's a direct conservation measure to boost the population.
And the website even gives tips for seeing them, like being sneaky.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Approach the deep pools quietly, hide behind plants. Trout are wary, so you need patience and stealth.
Makes sense. But it's not just the natural conditions in stocking, is it? We're doing work in the stream.
Correct. Stream management structures, they've installed things called J-hook vanes and cross vanes.
What are those? Sounds technical.
They're basically carefully placed arrangements of anchored boulders in the creek.
Okay. And they do what?
They redirect the water flow. Think of them like gentle speed bumps or guides for the water. The goal is to carve out deeper pools.
Better hiding spots for trout.
Exactly. Better shelter, better feeding areas, and they also help stabilize the banks, stop erosion.
Clever. And more plans, too. Willows.
Yeah. Future plans include planting willows along the banks. That adds shade, cools the water even more, and the roots help hold the banks together.
That seems really proactive. Not just protecting it, but actively improving it for the trout.
It is, and it ties back to what one source mentioned. A healthy trout stream needs the right streamed geology, enough groundwater.
And responsible land use nearby. Right, in the whole watershed.
Absolutely. What happens upstream or even just further up the banks eventually affects the creek. It's all connected.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Talk about the overall ecology, the biodiversity. And it sounds like the park sits in an interesting spot ecologically.
It does. The info suggests it's right at the meeting point of two major ecological regions, the Prairie Parkland Province and the Eastern Broadleaf Forest Province.
Prairie Parkland. So, like transition zone.
Kind of. It's where the big open prairies from the west start giving way to the dense eastern forests. So this park has elements of both.
And that means more variety.
Usually, yeah. This convergence often leads to higher biodiversity because you get species typical of both environments coexisting.
And the plants sound pretty diverse. The Minnesota Biological Survey even classified different forest types there.
Things like elm basswood black ash forests, red oak sugar maple basswood forests, specific communities.
And they list specific plants too, like basswood, maples, oaks, wild grape. It's quite lush. You mentioned mesic hardwoods earlier. What's that mean exactly?
Oh, right. Mesic just means moderately moist. So hardwood forests, think oaks, maples, those broadleaf trees that aren't too swampy but aren't super dry either. Just a good moisture balance.
Got it. And all that plant life supports the animals, naturally.
Yeah, of course. The county site mentions the common larger mammals, white-tailed deer, wild turkeys.
Expected, maybe, but birds too.
Lots of birds, residents that nest there, plus migrants just passing through.
And the eBird data. That sounded really interesting.
Oh, it's fantastic. Real-time sightings recorded by bird watchers right in the park. It really brings the bird life to life.
And some significant species listed.
Definitely. They've recorded species with conservation status in Minnesota, like the common tern, which is threatened, and the American goshawk and blue sucker, which are special concern.
Wow. But also the everyday birds.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of American robins, blue jays. The familiar ones are there, too. The recent eBird activity gives a great snapshot of who's around right now. It's a valuable tool, that hotspot record.
It's not just birds and deer, though.
Yeah.
The YouTube hiker saw a black squirrel.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Apparently a first for him.
And even some fish in the creek, besides the trout, have conservation status. Black buffalo, blue sucker.
All right, it shows the whole aquatic system has significance. It's a whole web of life.
Even fungi and insects are mentioned.
Yep, artists conch fungus on trees, painted lady butterflies, all part of the ecosystem.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Practical stuff. Visitor info, a bit of history.
Sure. It's 628 acres, established back in 1967.
And pretty popular, right? Over 150,000 visitors a year.
Yeah, that's a lot of people enjoying it, which really highlights its value as a community resource.
And underlines the need for good stewardship, too.
Definitely. Keep it healthy for everyone.
The name, 7 Mile. That had a neat origin story.
It did. Apparently, a creek crossing was about 7 miles from the county courthouse, following an old trail.
Which is now Highway 99.
That's the story. Kind of cool how names stick around reflecting old routes.
Adds a bit of history to the place.
For sure. Connects the present landscape to its past.
So if someone's thinking of going, what do they need to know?
Well, standard park stuff mostly, open daylight hours, and this is nice, no entry fees.
Free entry is always good. And they have an updated map now.
Yeah, the brochure was updated late last year, which is great news, especially after hearing about the hiker's experience. Hopefully it's more accurate now.
Good point. And different parking areas, even GPS coordinates for one.
Mm-hmm. A back lot with coordinates, which helps for finding specific trailheads. And there's an underpass for the highway.
Oh, to connect parking areas. That's smart. Safer than crossing the road.
Definitely seems like a good feature.
Reservations needed.
Not for just regular day use, no. But there is a park caretaker who keeps a calendar, so maybe for big groups or events, you'd check in.
And it's easy to get to, we said, near Mankato and St. Peter.
Yeah, and only about an hour south of the Twin Cities, so really accessible for a lot of folks in the region.
That close proximity is probably a big reason for its popularity. Quick nature escape.
Makes sense. Easy trip for city dwellers or people in nearby towns.
Okay, wrapping up with some local perspectives and stewardship thoughts. Mankato Life called it a hidden gem.
Nice description. They mentioned 8 miles of wooded trails, slightly different number, but the feeling's the same. Popular for hiking, biking, fishing.
Right, and the Nicola County site had that nice photo of a bridge, really showing off the scenery.
Yeah, those local descriptions just reinforce how much the community values it. A beautiful place with lots to do.
And it's really important, as one source highlighted, to acknowledge the deeper history.
Absolutely. That this land is the traditional territory of the Ochithi, Ocoee, Wapikuri, and Wapetan peoples.
It's crucial context, isn't it? The source recommended checking out nativeland.ca and the nation's own websites to learn more.
Yes, a very important point. Understanding that history adds another layer of respect and understanding for the place.
And just quickly, that other 7 Mile Creek, the one in Montana.
Oh, right. Just a brief mention to avoid confusion. It's managed by a land trust there, doing restoration work.
Interesting parallel, though. Shows creek conservation is important in many places.
Exactly. Highlights the value of these stream ecosystems generally.
So bringing it all together, 7 Mile Creek County Park seems, well, pretty special.
It really does. You've got the varied landscape, bluffs, woods, grasslands.
That unique trout stream kept alive by those springs. A real ecological treasure for the area.
For sure. And just the sheer amount of life there. The plants, the birds documented on eBird, other wildlife. It's rich.
Plus all the ways people can enjoy it hiking, fishing, picnicking.
It's a fantastic example, isn't it? How a park, even if not huge on a national scale, can be so ecologically significant and such a valuable spot for people.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many other places like this are out there, maybe closer than we realize?
Yeah, those local hidden gems that hold unique stories and ecological value.
Maybe this deep dive inspires folks to look for similar spots in their own area. And if you want to know more about this park,
check out the links, the county website, eBird for the bird lists, native-land.ca for the history. Lots more to explore there.